Welcome, the uplifters. I'm Void2973 from I'm a DGen, and this is your good morning. Let's go.
This is your good morning. Yeah, things are the best kind of weird this morning. Let's rock and roll.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's the voice band. Pretty like industrial metal kind of shit. Oh, yeah. Can't say metaverse without Void. Kind of Nine Inch Nails kind of vibe, huh?
I was just thinking that the undertones are so 9 Inch Nails. Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting. I mean, years ago, like 5-6 years ago, I remember discussing Avatar AI bands, and here we are. We're here in the future. This is actually so Bored Ape is known for giving out commercial rights, and it's a 2D PFP or profile picture. And I'm a DGen is the historical first to drop 10,000 unique avatars fully rigged with commercial IP. So what you see there is actually a band formed by 3 holders, not necessarily by the brand itself.
Right.
And they're on a DAO record label called OXO Metaverse, or 0x0 Metaverse, and on the same label as the Bored Ape, which again is another holder. And so they've dropped some singles and an album and all that. And it's actually this I'm a DGen is the Imaverse is the actual brand, also known as Void. Visitors of I'm a DGen is the acronym. And that's the little pet there. That is called the Win Lambo.
Of course it is.
Of course it is, right? So we got I'm a DGen, and actually this rendering is done by a Bored Ape, which they kind of display in the backgrounds and stuff. His name is Public Fruit, and the founder of the company is Holiday, who's a CryptoPunk. And so you kind of have this a brand that's decentralized, and people are sort of building it out as to what it actually means, what the storyline is, and all that. So we'll jump into some of that. But yeah, imadgen.com is what you're looking at, and these things are super badass. They
It's
were
bizarre, man. Like it reminds me a little bit about like, have you ever seen that animation flick like Nine, or like that kind of end of the world apocalyptic movie where they have these 9 renditions of these robots that go through, and basically like humanity has died, and there's just these 9 robots that are surviving and alive, and they've got really interesting, characteristics that remind me a lot of these guys with the eyes and the face. And I don't know if you've ever seen it, but just the dancing and the movement, it's really cool. I like it.
Yeah, they're super fun. Yeah, so like, this thing was pretty early. If you think, I believe Meta announced Metaverse in around August, September, if I'm not mistaken. So this is July. They delivered the entire 10K. So this is not like a roadmap. We're gonna give you avatars. They gave avatars. And so people have integrated them into Grand Theft Auto. They've integrated them into Somnium Space, VR chat. So, we're using these in virtual reality. So we do like Discord video chats where half the people are using webcams. I'm using a webcam right now, by the way. So just a plain webcam, no mocap or anything like that. And then the other people are using VR, and then we're all simultaneously in different places, but as our PFP. So it's really like becoming your PFP, right? Your digital identity and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, these are cool. I've seen some of the videos of, when they started popping up in Grand Theft Auto, I was like, all right, this is a whole thing, clearly. So what are the, up here a little bit? I just want to go through this a little bit because it's really cool.
Yeah.
What if your NFT can be more than a JPEG? Indeed.
In July 2021 is the mint date. So that's I would say the most important, because you're going to see projects who are now, obviously, land sales for metaverse stuff is a big deal, and if, for example, Ape, Other Side, all that. But are you going to enter as a flat JPEG? Is that how it's going to work? You need 10,000 fully rigged avatars. So it's like the first metaverse community that really lives and breathes what it says.
Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, one thing caught my eye while I was going through here. So this is, we give you the tools and the rights to start building. So the rights you kind of covered, right? So like that, you have commercial rights to kind of make
full
something.
Commercial rights so some brands, some PFP communities, they say this is the cap, or you have to contact the brand and ask permission. This is full commercial rights.
Yeah.
Literally, he says, make as much money as you want to. There are no rules.
I mean, that's the way it absolutely should be, because the second you start putting some caps on it, just you're setting yourself up for just bullshit down the road. But yeah, when it says we give you the tools, so what kind of tools are they putting out? Clearly, you're on here as an alien. It's super freaking rad. Is this the kind of stuff that they're putting out, or how do people basically go from just buying one, which maybe I just did, to basically playing it? Where would we go for tools? What should I start with, I guess?
For sure, yeah. I think that's one of the things that I really love about this community is the fact that, it's an educational, in a lot of Discords, it's about floor price. And in this case, they have a series of tools. There's a thing called imaversity.com. So just iMMAversity.com, and there you can see, and that's also built by a holder, and it basically, you can learn how to integrate your void into Snapchat Lens, into Sonium Space, VR chat. Do you want to learn Blender, which is like a 3D rendering? So some of these animations there have been made in Blender, or they've been made in Cinema 4D, which is movie studio level stuff. If you want to mint a derivative of your project, so that guy there doing the dance over there is in the top right, with the Lamborghinis and all that stuff in the back. That's done by a holder, which they did in Blender, and then they learned rigging and Mixamo and stuff. And so what's really cool is the people in that community are creative, so you kind of get to troubleshoot with people who really are learning or already know the tools, or industry professionals or not. But you can start from zero. We do tutorials, live streams on kind of AMAs of how to learn these softwares. So I would say just the educational value that it brings, aside from the sort of token community, which people love to say, the vibes and all that stuff. I think there's vibes, I think there's community, but the tutorials and the teaching and the learning, you can I see people go in 15 minutes, go on a live stream with someone, not a live stream, but like a Discord video chat.
Mm-hmm.
And you get all your questions answered. Someone will walk you through getting set up. And then you've never touched a 3D software, and now you got your, and really, I guess it sets it up so you can start to build out what your vision is for that specific character. And that's what we've seen with a lot of like the Bored Apes or, CryptoPunks. People become their avatar. They build a brand around it. But, in this case, we have augmented reality, virtual reality. And you can, and so the other tools is the fact that when you think about scaling integrations, right, the idea of a metaverse anyways is that you can jump from platform to platform, but every platform has a different format. And so, originally when they dropped in July, they delivered in the FBX format, but just only, I think a week or two ago, they launched it now in FBX, VRM format, and GLB, which basically, that's kind of like extra. So now you're talking 10,000 files times 3 exports. That's 30,000 exports, which that takes a team to be able to, like an expert team to be able to execute something like that. But what it means is that you can bring it into virtual reality. You can bring it into augmented reality, bring it into a game that would allow you to bring in a 3D avatar or 3D print it. I've seen people print a little action figure of their character. You could build a giant statue. Is really no limitation. I've made an animated PFP. So I got a static JPEG, but I wanted it to move and animate. So I was able to do that. So I think it's like, you can view your void from every angle, rotate it in 360. So I think that the tools itself is A, the education, but B, the partnerships can scale so much faster because anybody who says, I want to integrate voids, which is what's happening. We have video chat companies reaching out. We have AR apps that are reaching out. We got video games reaching out. And then it's like, oh, you need 10,000 avatars? Boom. Here's all the files. What file format do you need? Right. And so a lot of NFT, PFP brands, they're only ready for one integration on the roadmap. They'll go, we're only going to Sandbox, or we're only going to do Decentraland. And so here, not only does it put the file formats in the holder's hands versus it being centralized and like you're sitting there on the sidelines waiting for, the brand to integrate with different metaverses. In this case, you can literally like grab your files and go, hey, here's the first few, like put them in there. Throw them in the game, So I think that type of freedom and empowerment with the education and sort of like, it's almost like having a genius bar for, hey, I'm trying to figure this out. I don't know how to do this.
Right. It's also new. So like every single person that, gets one of these things and then has an experience that basically nobody's ever had before, right? Like you have these PFPs, fine, right? But now you've got the ability to take it into the whether it's AR or like what you're doing right now, man. Like the whole idea that you're showing up, as your void. It's rad as hell, right? So that education is huge, and then you get the core number of people that end up having these skills. Because like when people figure this stuff out, it's this just feels instantaneously like it's going to be part of the future.
I mean, I can lease this to Pixar, right? I can, as you saw earlier, we had someone who created a band. There's another guy who's using his avatar as like a, almost like a celebrity to do modeling for products. It could be the star of a video game or an unlockable character or something like that. Mm-hmm. I think people who are in the film and creative space are going to really see this differently than just something that you buy to flip to get rid of. Instead, it's something that you would like buy and be like, I'm not letting go of my identity. And the other thing is it has some interesting sort of inherent values here, because when you can be your avatar across multiple platforms, including doing this interview here, you may not even know who I am. I can throw a voice changer on real quick and,
Yep.
Say, hey, this is my voice, and, and then I'm still undoxed. So I think that there's a lot of things that are some really cool value, and this thing is packed with value. And so I think that that's what really gravitated me to this, is like, I've never seen anyone, use their NFT to this extent. And so when markets are up or markets are down, like, we're still like building and hanging out. You could build your own derivative project, which a lot of people do that. They take their IP and then they, make a new NFT project with it. Well, in this case, you could do full body. I could zoom out and not do a PFP, but instead do a void action figure NFT or something, and then use the augmented reality so it shows up, in your room or something. Or, there's a lot of freedom there to really build out a brand around this identity. And I don't know, I think it's just super unique. The fact that it's historically first, so early, July 2021. And then they did a companion project, which is what you see, the Win Lambo. And that is going to be another 10,000 3D models. So I think by the time any of these PFP projects get their first 3D models in one format, there'll be already this one in 3 formats. This is the 2.0 update. And then, he doesn't want to call it the 2.0 update, but it's enhanced and from the original July version. And then the Win Lambos are a companion as well, which are supposed to be the companion / nemesis, which is interesting. The enemy of that's why it's got those machine guns popping out and stuff. And they're getting the red alert that a Win Lambo has breached the ship. But yeah, so I think that they're so far ahead, and there's a lot of troubleshooting when you're jumping from platform to platform. Like, everyone wants to quote and say all the billions of dollars going into metaverse development. But people forget about, okay, well, which brands are going to be able to actually travel from format to format?
Yep.
And the answer is like close to none. And we actually just did a partnership with Chibi Labs, where now they also have some 3D avatars that they released towards the end of 2021, and they got a great project. They also got a game that you can log in with with your wallet and stuff. And so now voids are trainers for those chibis, and you can have an egg and train it up, and it hatches and it becomes a little baby, and then and then turns into a full-grown little animal. And those have 3D files, which can do augmented reality and all that stuff. So we just did a giveaway of some eggs and stuff like that. We integrated into their game on Monday. So yeah, it can go really fast.
Yeah, no, I think it will, especially considering like whether we're in like full on bear market or what, right? Like, we're going to find out. Yippee fucking dude up. But I think like watching what a project like this can do over, the next couple of years, like, it's really clear this is just going to keep going. Right. And so, yeah, no, I'm excited. I got one. I actually just looked at those Win Lambos. I'm probably going to have to get a couple of those too. Yeah. Cause I like, this just feels like something that, just needs to be explored and played with. Because you're right. Like, if you have one of these things, what are all the different ways, like Hustle House? And I know you have done some experiments around this as well. Like doing, you get one of these PFPs, he's got a Bored Ape or whatever, but you turn it into a brand. Like, you basically, give this thing, a character backstory, like sort of real identity and presence. And, that just like, it's got a weird stickiness to it, right? Like, down the road for the people that really play into this. And again, like, this is, we're super early. People are still experimenting on what's possible with this. And so we're going to see what sticks. But yeah, I think over the next year, it's just going to get, that much more interesting.
Well, as you know, like from a technical standpoint, like there's a lot of value in working through problems and file formats and working with platforms and the technical aspect of it. And so not only as a holder can you learn how to, work through some of those problems, but also as a, as an NFT brand, they're making a lot of headway where I think a lot of by the time people get their avatars for their PFP projects, they'll be at the beginning where this is a year ahead, having worked through all those technical problems, having dealt with all those different platforms, figuring out their expectations and, what they need, which files are, glitching in this platform, but not in that platform. So really like working on the interoperable aspect, I think has a lot of value. And plus there's not a lot of projects that stick around for over a year. We're coming up on a year in July, sorry, but super close, right? So, I think that people didn't understand totally what this was because Bored Apes had just dropped, and then a month later this drops. It was, I think it's pretty early, although there's a ton of ape holders and punk holders who won't let go of these things. It's a long play for sure. There's even some a famous R&B singer, Tinashe. She's got a couple billion views on YouTube. She's got one. We've got some interesting people who gravitate to this. And I think once people understand the full value and start playing around with this, and it's really next level, I think, for the space. And it's like, hey, meet me in VR. Oh, you want to play a game with me? Sure, meet me there. And my identity remains consistent. Oh, let's just jump on a video call. Here we are.
What I think is really interesting about this is the fact that like once various projects, various games start adopting it, then you can have your same, avatar across games, really, right? Like you can show up looking the way that you do in multiple places, and that becomes your identity, right? And like one of the cool things about the whole, own your identity with the Bored Apes project is we see them kind of corralling around the brand, right? And once that brand, moves to the next level, it's going to be really interesting, right? Like some friends of ours over at Crypto Writer, Meta Collect, like they started using their Bored Calvin as their spokesperson, and all of a sudden, like they're blowing up now, right? Because people are like, "Hey, when Bored Calvin, tweets something, people pay attention." When Sean, he's a good guy, but like when he tweets somebody, nobody freaking listens now.
Well, let's talk a little bit about apes. So, actually, there's some ape identity. DNA in here. So here on my right eyebrow. You see BAYC right near the Thug Life. I've got on the back of my head, I've got a Bored Ape. I can't turn fully, but right there, BAYC on the eyebrow. And then there's also another Bored Ape tattooed on the leg. Which you could only see if you had the full 3D file to like look down and look at the leg, where most PFPs are just above the chest. And the reason for that is because all the tattoos are sourced from the community. So there's like different people, like Hook, their Captain Hook on the side, he's a holder. And so they kind of came together to source the tattoos and stuff. And so that's one thing. Another thing would be, of course, like the ethos or ideal of giving away the commercial IP, but it's just the 3D version, I would say. And also for the other side, Metaverse, we already have holders who are like, of course, they see that we're actually builders. So we have 3 plots of land in which we can build on due to the community, offering those up for us to build in the other side. So those lands are already secured. And also we've applied for SDK developer access for Bored Ape. So, if you think about, who's going to be able to integrate right away as soon as that thing launches, I'd say we have 10,000 avatars in 3 different formats with SDK developer access and 3 plots that we can get started on.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people talk about being there, but then they don't think about how their flat JPEG is going to move around in that 3D world.
Right. Yeah, it'll be. I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting to see because I mean, like, you know, clearly the Void system has like leapfrogged, you know, what they're doing. Now, granted, like what they're like other side looks like it's going to be pretty nuts too. So that's going to be interesting.
For sure. And I think that's the thing is like we can work with anyone at any point. And what we've seen with the Bored Apes and stuff, not to draw too many comparisons here, but is that an individual holder can do a partnership, which could be huge network effects for the rest of the brand. So people have their individual agency, and it's almost like if you think about a 3D studio that has 10,000, people building out different things for the brand. It's a really interesting concept in terms of being decentralized and, Arizona Tea, they bought a Bored Ape, and, you have movie studios. I think Seth Green, who tried to buy one, but I think it got jacked. But that's a whole nother story. But the point is that a single holder can integrate into a platform or into a movie, and then that has network effects on the rest of the community. So I think it's going to be interesting when you give people the power to build what they see in their mind, and then they have all the formats, and then they have the sort of education tools. I think that is an avatar brand that is built to last. And so even as people, adopt augmented reality and virtual reality headsets and stuff, this already has that, where a lot of these PFPs, they sort of, they get high prices and then they crash, or during the market they crash or whatnot. And then you can't do anything but just look at them on the screen. Where at least here you can actively build, and that's what we see in our community is like people like, oh, I just opened up Blender for the first time and I made my first render, check this out. Or, oh, I just learned about augmented reality. And so I think that there's not a lot of communities that you can learn tons of stuff that will have, I would say, value for years to come, personal value, right? If you learn how to build out 3D stuff or learn how AR works or whatnot, that means some of these people are going off to build their own projects or be leads of other projects and, consult or whatever because of what they learned at Void,
Yep. All right. Sorry. I just realized I still had you on solo because you're too cool not to.
I'm sorry I'm so quiet, but like I've just been scrolling through the OpenSea page for like the last 10 minutes. Looking at all the varieties.
That's my daily.
No, dude, like it's pretty phenomenal, right? Like there's some really cool ones. There's a lot of PFP projects. Like you see the same thing, right? But like there's some, of course, some of the same thing here. Even if they were precursors, but there's some really like interesting ones. Like one I found, he's wearing like, a kind of a Vietnamese type of, farmer's hat, and he's all green, like a dark green, almost an alien green, like holding a knife in his mouth. Like it's scary as fuck, really. But they've got the rainbow colored skin, and like, there's just some really cool ones in there, man. Like I'm a pretty big, I don't know. I think Corey might be like this too, but like I'm pretty big. Like when I buy something like this, like when I purchase like a PFP or whatever it happens to be, I want something that like I can resonate with. It fits my character. It's really difficult. This one's a hard one to choose, man. Like there's some pretty cool ones out there on the market. So. For
sure, yeah. There's different skin types, as you mentioned. There's like the tattooed kind. There's the ones that look robotic that have like metal pieces and stuff like that. Then you have like a clown face that has kind of like the Joker vibes. You have like there's even one that has like a fake human skin that's like he's wearing a mask of human. There you go. So there's like here you can see there's the red ones, the blue ones. So you got all these different species, which
insane,
is cool.
Man. Like he's gonna mess you up. Like don't mess with this dude.
Oh yeah, I mean we're ready for invasion. And I think what's really cool is the idea that they're visitors of I'm a Degen. So there's these Degens who are traveling across different metaverse platforms, and they're literally the first to visit. Like they get to the platform and nobody yet has integrated. Like Jadu AR, was we were the first to integrate, like GTA first to integrate, like
Mhm.
all these different, VR chat, first 10K project that's in there. So it's like you get there, no one's there except for each other. And then eventually you get other people who inhabit those metaverses and you're like, oh, hey, we've been here for 6 months. How you been?
Yeah, right.
This guy
Yeah.
showed up to Earth on Halloween and didn't realize that like this wasn't the normal way that people walk around. Like that's what's going on. I love it though. Like it's really good.
Well, they're trying to be human, right? They're kind of trying to blend in. They're picking up the culture, the local culture, and trying to understand what it's like. You got to find the I'm a human. It's hilarious. He's wearing a skin of a human, just trying to blend in. But it's badly placed. His eyes are like kind of sticking out, and it looks like he's wearing a little mask. But those are rare, so you might not find those. But actually, the balaclavas, which are ski mask ones, those are like the most coveted. And what's interesting is they're not necessarily the most rare, but they're the most coveted. There's barely any on the market, and it's because, again, people care about like what you're saying. I want something to match, who I, like one that matches my personality. Some of them have headphones. Some of them are goofy looking. Some of them are real cool looking and badass. Some of them, have a laser gun mounted on the shoulder, depends on what's your vibe. But I tell you, you're going to buy one and then you're like, well, I want different outfits. So I've got multiple. Dude. And
I'm already going down that rabbit hole. Like, God damn it. Like I finally picked up a famed lady squad a little while ago, and I got one that has a halo, and I love it. Like it's this weird thing, right? Because I'm super I know I'm late to the PFP product, but I started thinking, almost immediately about, I have some friends that are like building a merch company where you need the NFT to print it or whatever, right? And I'm like, yeah, like I want this on a cup, like whatever, right? But now I'm thinking like I'm like literally in here, don't tell anyone. But like I'm looking at the ones with halos on them. It's like that's a fun thing,
right?
To take.
What you don't know is we were on a call the other night. After the call, I think Corey decided to buy like a Mong or something, and you went in there and like you picked up one on the halo. And then after I was on the show with Sean, and we're going through it, and he's like, yeah, let's check out the Mongs that just sold. And like right near the top was your like haloed Mong. And I'm like, that's Corey's. He's like,
well, we've actually did a collab with them because they also, one of the most coveted traits is the balaclava ski mask as well. So we did an activation with Fame Ladies as well. But yeah, look, on the idea of printing on a cup, generally your PFP goes like this, right? Or one way, maybe facing this way, right?
Yep.
So, right?
Well, some like this semi side profile, yeah.
Yeah, so you could do a shirt that he's looking up, and then the other one where he's angry or eyes closed, or
this is where
360 full bodied.
Yeah, what I started thinking about is like to make this work, it's Andre Bello, who's making this. He did Lax Virtual Lands on Wax. He's a good friend of ours.
Yeah, good dude.
Right, but you need to have the NFT, right, on Wax or on Ethereum. But that means like, so if I want to do this, like I gotta do like a mini NFT line of all the different poses or whatever, right? It's just like it's one of those things where you can just see the tree of possibilities just start to expand exponentially in what you can do with these things.
Yeah, definitely. They're a lot of fun, and I think that we're just scratching the surface as to what these things can do. To me, like just a 2D, they're just a 2D rendering, 2D rendering of a 3D model. We've seen projects that claim to be 3D, but they're actually Photoshop layers on top of each other. Where this is actually like the lighting is appropriate from, the light source comes from one direction, the shadows cast to the other, where like some other projects have been criticized because they sort of fake the 3D project, because doing a 10,000 3D model project is literally an insane thing to want to do. And so we got to give props to Holiday. I think he's like way ahead of his time. And yeah, I think that this brand is going to have a lot of longevity. The people who love it are like diehard cult fanatics. And then think about like the whole like Roswell or Alien fans once they find out about this. There's obviously people who are really, really into that, or just people who are filmmakers or game makers. Like, the other thing is like about games is like, it's hard to build the actual place and then the identities and then the brands within it, right? And so what they end up doing is just sort of, you get this generic character with no flavor and stuff. And so I think that, by having them focus specifically, a lot of PFP communities are like, we're going to do staking, we're going to do metaverse, we're going to do clothing, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and they are focused on just giving the best 3D models, the tools to be able to be everywhere. And so a game developer who is just making their first iPhone app or whatever, they can go and say, I'm just going to pick the hero of my character, the hero and the villain. Maybe pick up a Win Lambo, and that would be the companion pup. And there you go. I've got my 3D characters, and I think people are generally, there is some talking through to kind of figure out this whole offering. But I think once it clicks in people's head, they're like, oh, light bulb, makes sense.
It's like, I want to talk to StreamYard and be like, hey, nerds, like, let me upload my file and just let it be, me. Well,
actually, one of the things that's on the roadmap is to build out an API. So then that way these avatars can just be automatically pulled, just from Wallet Connect on, so if they're Web3 login, then you can just, and actually Jadu has already done this. Jadu AR has already done, and they have like the other, integrations they have is like the Snoop Dogg avatars. Let's see. I think they have one Deadfellas, a 3D model in there. But Cyberkongs is in there. But yeah, so it's like, they built a hoverboard, like a 3D hoverboard that you can, and then now the Void can jump on there and you can control him on your iPhone and fly around in AR. But that's an NFT. So the board is an NFT, but we integrated with them first because nobody else was ready.
Yeah. I see. This is another one of those conversations where I'm like, I need a fucking iPhone, don't I? God damn it. It happens a lot.
But yeah, so I think that also as we see more Android apps come up, and there's also Mac integrations. There's a company called Hallway Tile. They do also VC chat, and they're working on integrating with Voids. Let's see. I'm trying to name all the platforms. There's so many of them. But yeah, I think that's really the, when you think about any kind of software tech company, you want to think about scalability, right? How ready are you to scale? Super ready.
Right.
If anything, it's just like we're waiting for platforms to be able to be ready.
Yeah, for real.
So the only thing that's still on the roadmap in terms of, development for, being able to jump into these different metaverses is that obviously this wouldn't be voxel based, right? So something like a Minecraft character or, pixel based avatar still has to be built out, but, already to be able to be integrated into any 3D engine, any game on your Apple iPhone or Android's, mobile app games, forget about AR and VR, just a regular like platform runner or something like that. There's a lot of spaces these things can be used. And so, yeah, I think that it's going to be really exciting to see what people continue to build out with them. We've seen people now building wearables for their Voids. So these things are also customizable. So we teach how to, use Blender or Unity, and then people are making their own combinations. They're either kit bashing 2 or 3 Voids together to make some crazy trait that has never existed, or they're literally like adding a Yankees hat or a puffer jacket, like things that, or purple skin, like traits that don't exist, or designing their own tattoos and shit. So once you figure out how to do it, you can add a Uplift logo on the chest. You can, there's a lot of things that other PFPs you can't just simply customize like that.
Yeah.
So it can really become a brand ambassador in a big way.
And it'd be cool to see somebody build a collection on wax or whatever, but like wax is just where we know a lot of people or whatever, right? But where we have those tools, or like there's like somebody who knows how to do it, who can mint those NFTs, right? Who can basically like take whatever you want, but like just imagine like JRG, I'm sure would do it with some of his stuff. Uplift would probably do it with a bunch of their stuff or whatever, right? And then just have that as a place where somebody who actually knows how to do this can get those done. But then you have this kind of new collection that is in one place. Is that crazy, or should everybody kind of do it on their own and have it to be more decentralized?
No, I think that you're gonna find plenty of services like that. Like there's already, like, for other PFPs, they have something called Nifty Tailor, which is you can add a different, let's say there's a holiday, they'll release for all the Bored Apes, they have them hand illustrated, and it's like an overlay that just goes on top of the illustration. And so I think that definitely there's going to be high-end fashion brands or people who are going to want to create their own metaverse wearable brands, and they'll be compatible with different avatars. But again, like, which 10K avatar collections are there? Not many. And so there's definitely a space, and that's what I see people already in the room experimenting with. They're going ahead and customizing their void, and they're saying, hey, I'll I can customize your void for you for a little price. And yeah, it's definitely heading that way. And so I think that just in the same way that there's studios that will build out for PFP brands full 3D avatars, but often it's for one specific holder. So you see a couple apes who have their own 3D apes, but those are bespoke, right? They're done by one studio, and then they build 1, 2, 3 avatars, or will build an AR filter for you, but not necessarily something that accommodates to the entire 10K. But I think that all those use cases are coming, like those, and that's the thing, is like, these brands create ecosystems, and those ecosystems create opportunities. So forget about the floor price. Like, what kind of businesses can you build out with your NFT, like, while holding it, right? Not letting it go. It's not about the floor price. Don't buy something to let go of it. Is kind of it's okay. I get it. There's flippers out there. But this thing is more so something that you can continue to build value with it and gain, like, get a brand deal with it, I know that somebody
go ahead,
who had a gutter cat who went and, was offered, something like $40,000 to license it, and then 6 figures to buy it from them because they wanted to do a series of comic books on it, right? So that's just of a 2D one, like, so just think about just a studio who just wants to make a movie with it or whatnot.
You just like any PFP out there, like, this is something like, it would be amazing, Jimmy, to have the ability even in house to slap an Uplifter and Alpha Wings on a t-shirt. Like, bring your PFP to us or whatever, and we'll have somebody set that up. And then I know Gary's been messing around with Blender, like having the ability to put an Uplift logo on a t-shirt, or even, like, I know it's dumb, but like, I was thinking, like, it'd be really cool to have one of my voids be wearing a t-shirt that has my Uplift avatar on it, right?
For sure. It's not dumb. I think it's
okay, cool.
I don't think it's dumb, and I think that, I've seen people attach like the Dr. Octopus, like, metal arms onto it and shit like that move and stuff. That's just them messing around in Blender and attaching different, stuff that doesn't belong there, right? I think that's really it.
That's fun. The only music I should ever do again will be from one of my PFP characters.
Well, so actually, recently, I don't know if you've heard that song that's been blown up on TikTok, Crypto Boy, but it's something like, I don't care about your crypto boy. check out the Void, the I'm a DJ on Twitter, or you can check out Spotty Wi-Fi, Spotty Spottie Wi-Fi. He's a Web3 rapper, and he has some voids, and so he actually, we have a version of that song, his verse, where he's rapping as his void. So yeah, and I'm also working with someone else behind the scenes about putting together a music video with their voids that they recently got, and chopping it up. So yeah, I think that aside from that rock band that we saw in the beginning, you have another guy named Chef, shout out Chef. He started his podcast, and his podcast is his void. Got another guy who's reviewing charts and shit as his void and running through stuff on their podcast. So I think that there's a lot of undiscovered use cases, but just the obvious ones are already, being done and being worked on. Yeah, one of the holders, Chaos by Jay, just recently got a brand deal with I guess luxury airplane propellers. So it's something that you would hang on your wall. And so he's got his void modeling, holding it in a 3D blender render, modeling it and holding it, and then he got a brand deal. And all these, I've been working in VR and AR space for, years before NFTs, and I could tell you that, in terms of merchandise and e-commerce, all of these, not only is the camera technology working on like scanning 3D objects and all that stuff using AI GANs and all that, but there are companies who are taking out brands, and even Amazon has these platforms integrated where you can see the table or IKEA, chair in your living room to scale. Right. So it's like, okay, well, those are all 3D objects. So that means that Void can automatically advertise all the 3D objects. I mean, years ago, I interviewed the CEO of the largest marketplace for 3D objects. They had over, a million, CG Trader is the name. They had over 1 million 3D models of different objects. So I think that this is where it's all going, to be able to either preview it before you buy it, see the Rolex on your arm before you buy it, fits your wrist and stuff, or the chair or table, sit there. Porsche has an AR experience where you can check out all the settings and flip to leather seats, and all of that's in AR. So you can see it in your driveway, flip through all the paint jobs and, this type of, a wing on the back or whatever the hell. Right. So, Voids is ready for all that, Just people need to realize, I think, the true power.
I am going to spend too much money on these.
Me too, buddy. I know people are racking up like 40, 50 of them, 60 of them, 100 of them. And they're building armies, dude. I don't know what they're doing, what they're planning on doing with them. But I think
the backstop of it, I'm super engaged with the idea that, especially with these, like other PFP projects, I can kind of see it, like whatever, that's fine, right? But like building up a brand, and bringing them into the real world or into AR, finding other use cases for it, like within the context of this conversation already, I'm like, okay, there's a whole other NFT project that has to exist so that I can get my new Void on a t-shirt, right?
Right.
And like that just like, you don't ever sell them. They are hyper awesome assets. Now,
right.
All that's true.
What kind of diamond hands is there going to be when people actually use them?
Still want to kind of sweep a little of the floor, because everyone's going to be thinking that.
Right. Yeah. I think that once people kind of start to see what's going on there, and creatives and people are using them. I mean, remember the Gorillas, the band Gorillas?
Yep.
They traveled, they performed live, and they were animated cartoons that, were multi-platinum band. And so, hey, this can be done in AR, VR, 3D, just regular displays and stuff like that. So I think that, and then of course print out an action figure, 3D print, and then sell those toys, right?
I mean, don't take this the wrong way, but this is like the Muppets on like steroids on the internet. Right?
Well, I think that think about CGI, right? Think about these studios like Pixar and all that stuff. I mean, how accessible. I'm doing this on a webcam through a Zoom call or equivalent, right? And I don't have any mocap experience. I'm not wearing little white little tracking balls all over my face or like dots and stuff. This is a regular webcam using just AI to track my facial expressions, blink when I blink, right?
Do you guys, is it like using AI or whatever, like is this something that OBS can do? Like what's the tool set that
this runs in as a webcam, so anywhere where you can take a webcam input, it just shows up as a virtual webcam. So instead of it being a USB input, it's running on your computer. So you could essentially call someone through Facebook Messenger and call them on their phone and be like, "Hey, what's up?" Right?
This just officially got super weird. Yeah, I need to learn all that stuff. I think that's going to be interesting.
And
Jimmy,
look at that reaction. I need to learn.
Corey, let's be the Muppets.
Dude, go grab one, or even just go get one of the.
I got one picked out already.
Cool. Yeah, the Win Lambo ones are way cheaper, right? So grab one of those too, because maybe we could use that.
So, side note. Win Lambo's 3D models are coming, so they are not out yet, and so that's something that I do want to call out. But they've already been tested in VR and AR. We've posted videos of all how that works, and you can it's one thing when a brand trusts you're supposed to trust them to launch these avatars, but they've already delivered 10,000 once, and then just a month ago, after they dropped 3 formats and basically an enhancement or an update of how detailed these things look, and in 3 formats, that's 30,000. So they've delivered 30,000 files already. So you can trust that the companion project is in the works and that it's coming soon is all I can say. Soon. So yeah, that floor price is probably going to change once those 3D models come through. Just wait till AI gets integrated into things like this, and you end up having. Okay, so actually, I interviewed the founder of Alethea AI, who sells essentially the AI brain as an NFT, and actually, I spoke to him before. NFTs had blown up, so he said you could use this for your avatar. He said to animate your avatar, and you could monetize it on the blockchain. And at the time he said that, I had no idea really what he meant by that. And then he went and launched on OpenSea and was one of the top selling projects. But essentially, they do use they use AI GAN networks and natural language processing to be able to connect it to an avatar, and then it's sort of a chat bot, and it could speak in any language, right? Because and then essentially they run it through the text to speech. So I could hire my Void to speak in different countries simultaneously in China and France and America. And people could chat with it theoretically, and it could respond, or it could do a speech in simultaneously. And he's actually the creator. Not creator. Sorry, he was the CMO for Sophia the robot, and he used to carry her around in a suitcase to go to different speaking events. And so then the light bulb went off and was like, oh, instead of having to carry it physically, what about connecting AI with a virtual character, which doesn't have those constraints of travel and whatnot, but could still get $100,000 speaking opportunity at a conference or something like that.
Right. Well, and then, how long until we're all just in VR doing that anyway? And there's no reason to get atoms when electrons will do.
There you go. Well, it would be to automate it so you don't have to show up and you can stay in bed. I guess that's the answer.
I mean, living the dream.
Yeah, man. So yeah, good point, TC. Yeah, it's 100% possible. Now,
Yeah,
right now,
it's right, and like, the rest of the world just hasn't caught up yet.
right?
Which is
Or wondered
always
why
an
they would want
amazing
that.
signal, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And they're
That's
all
the main
going to.
thing. It's
Yeah.
like, why would I want that? And then it clicks later. You're like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, people don't know why they want 3D avatars in July 2021, but as metaverse becomes like the thing, and then these things go online, then they go, excuse me, devs, can you do something? We need 10,000 avatars, and that's not easily done overnight.
Jimmy, you're muted.
God damn it, when I make $1 million, I'm going to buy every single flippin' person who refuses to come on this goddamn show without showing their face one of these so that they can get their
How many
asses on
shy
here and
people
put
are
their
there?
mouth where their body isn't.
Dude. Yeah.
Hey, I could look like shit right now. You don't know what I look like.
I mean, we know you're pretty, but everybody else doesn't know. And that's.
But man, but remember, there's only 10,000.
Right? We live in this society where I almost feel bad that I'm saying this, but we live in this society where a big number of us hide behind social media platforms that we're plugged into because we don't want to put ourselves out there on the line. Yeah, it's
right.
Like the majority of it. I think you just don't want people to know where you live, like where you're from. You don't want that to come back on you, and it's scary, right? Something like the ability to have, an avatar that blinks when you blink and winces when you wince, that portrays those real life, facial expressions that your voice can come across in. That's golden in today's internet age, really.
Yeah, it's got some serious legs for sure.
It's a vision for sure, and I think that it's a lot of foresight. But here's the thing: there's only 10,000 of them. And the other thing that people always say is like, you can't change the date of the blockchain. Well, the thing is that, being historically first, that doesn't change. So it doesn't matter how many other avatar projects come on. Like the CryptoPunks, those dates, those don't change as time passes, right? They just become more historically relevant. So I would say you may be able to get a 10,000 avatar project a year from now, but it definitely won't be the first one.
Well, and even like... Yeah, that's like one of the things as far as like floor price or whatever. I mean, that's having that historic capacity is really interesting, but it's so much less interesting to me than the actual utility.
For sure,
right?
Well, people scream utility, and then these things are 100% packed with more utility than you know what to do with.
Right. That's the thing. They don't understand, right? And I think, utility, people just want like, oh, this thing just spits out another thing. Yeah, cool. That's fun. Like I got an airdrop else, right? Like yippity doodah, right? This requires some thinking, the idea of turning it into a brand, like, figuring out, like turning it into a business, turning it into a product. And, most people, frankly, suck at that, right? But I think they should learn, right? I think they should do it in whatever small, cool ways you possibly can. Learn the technology so that you can start expanding on this stuff, and turn them into the product that they can be, right? Because it's like it's an asset that is of extreme potential value. Just a matter of like teasing some of it out.
For sure, and I think that as we're sharing more and more content of what people are doing with them. People, I think, don't assume that all of them can do it, because the expectation is that often in other projects, only someone has commissioned one avatar to be able to be VR compatible. They don't realize that this entire 10,000 series is ready for that, right? So I think that people see it as something that they could never do. But then as they learn, oh, okay, and then plus, like I said, the Genius Bar aspect of like, will help you learn how to do it if you have the patience, of course. I mean, you're not going to become a 3D artist overnight, but I would say that this Zoom camera thing, you can get online in 10 minutes, have it working, right? So that's different than learning Cinema 4D and putting together like a Pixar level kind of animation or something. But I could switch the background on these guys. I could be switching out my different tomorrow I could join the show as a different Void, so I like to change my outfits, and so
can you imagine the day where like the person who like shows up with like an avatar that doesn't move gets ridiculed out of the room. Like that's
Right. Is this a form of digital classism, right? Where it just you know it's unfair how well this works. Let's see let's see here. Oh,
I mean,
there's
I'm
more
gonna
of
test it
me.
out. So
There's more of me.
I'll be the truth. I'll be the true seer of this, and I do believe you, but I'll be the true seer. Like, right? Because like when it comes to like figuring new things out, I'm extra cautious, and it takes me a long time to like research and go through things. So like, if you say 10 minutes and I can do it in 15 minutes, it's a massive win for me, right? Like
Yeah.
you know, like
Right. Yeah, I would say that. I think that there's different learning curves, but we have some recorded video tutorials on how to do it, and those things end seriously in 10 minutes. There's no editing or fast forwarding. It's like done in real time. And by the way, beyond that, we have people attaching like a Leap Motion hand sensor, like a physical sensor that you plug in USB, and they're controlling their hands on their webcam as well. So that's what a bunch of holders have been like sniping up those, because they're like, oh, you know, you can switch, like I said, switch out the backgrounds. There's some people who are running them inside full 3D scenes, you know, where you could do multicam switching at a desk in a spaceship, and it looks like you're inside of a movie, and the bubbles are, boiling in the background. Right now I got a gray background because we just tried to get together something quick, but so there's some people doing sick shit.
So I know Gary's been fucking around with getting builds from the Uplift into Blender, and he's got like a high resolution object files for it. How amazing would it be to put like the cathedral or even the Ethereum dome, once I get it finished, into a file, and then just have you walking through it, or have me walking through it now that I own one, but like have just be able to it's just gonna be video content or whatever, but still like what
for sure. Well, actually, I don't know. Let me stop you there, because VR Chat has a Minecraft world, and I had already used my Void, and I was building Minecraft blocks as my 3D Void. I have some screenshots of it, but in VR. So I would say all those things are definitely possible.
Man,
I mean,
this is where it's going to start getting super weird.
Yeah, and that's the Ready Player One thing that we actually saw, where it was like, you have different aesthetics, where you have 3D and then pixel all in the same place, and it's that mashup of comic book anime with 3D art with 2D pixel, and it's your Mario with your Sonic. Oh yeah, TC, what? all caps, but no cap here. This is truth.
That's awesome. All right, so Void 2973, we're gonna have to have you back, maybe even to like teach us the webcam thing, right?
Oh yeah,
get in and and we'll like advertise it in advance, because I would be willing to bet there's a lot of people that are going to do that. I don't want to advertise it until I can get a chance to buy some more. Like, all you guys just fuck off for a minute. I need to go get more Ethereum.
Yeah, fuck off. Don't go to I'm a DGen. Do not go to imadgen.com, and don't look it up on OpenSea. Don't type in Void. Do not do that.
Nope. I need about a day. No, I know every already is, and that's super fun.
None of mine are listed. I bought a bunch. None of them are listed.
I mean,
why do you think?
Well, like even no, I don't think I would either. Just for years.
I mean, you could.
I mean, down the road. I mean, like for me, this is an automatic hold till top of the next season at the very least, and then I only saw the ones that didn't sell that good on mugs. Or
there you go.
18 other freaking things that we can do.
Monetize them.
Shut the front door. It's not a thing. But yeah, so give everybody a chance to pick some up, and then maybe we can have you come back and give us a little primer on even just getting the webcam thing working, right? Because I think once guests know that, and we can actually do it on this show, and people are sort of experiencing.
You could provide a community Void for people, so you guys could have an Uplift Void that has a Uplift logo on his shirt or on his hat.
Yeah.
And then that is provided to anybody who's shy.
Oh, that's adorable.
That's a really
that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Like, hey, do you want to come as an alien instead of you?
Look really cool.
There's one good benefit of being adopted by aliens.
That's right.
right,
So
hey,
before you get probed on the floor price, pick one up.
do it up, Buttercups. So yeah, we have another meeting or I do anyway in 15 minutes. So I got to run, do a reset. But dude, thank you so much for coming. And for real, we're gonna have to have you come back and teach us more because yeah, this is the future, and I want in.
Hell yeah, I'm a degen.com. IMMADEGEN.com. Check it out on OpenSea. There you go. Boom.
That's the Alcohol Anonymous intro. You have to spell it out.
All right, and I'm Void2973 signing out.
All right, cool
Later.
guys. Cheers, Traffic Jet.